Mick, after the last 3 weeks, what do you do?
Well, we've played 35 players. There's not many left. Of the 35, of the ones that are left, I think 3 can't play because they're rookies. Giles hasn't played for 18 months. That's 4. 2 or 3 of them are just simply too young. So we'll just keep shuffling it.
Is confidence perhaps the biggest issue at the moment, Mick, in a lack?
The biggest issue today was Greater Western Sydney. They have. I've watched them from afar. Their ability to have picked players that have helped the kids. Mumford, Davis didn't play. Shaw, Scully on a wing. Griffiths didn't do much today, but he'll certainly help them. The maturity of... I went through their midfield, and I've counted up to 8 that could go through the midfield and represent most clubs as a singular. So in other words, the 8th could quite easily, the way I see it, fit in to probably the best sides as one of the 3. So there's 8, and those 8 are probably keeping another. Those 8 are probably keeping another 4 or 5 out. They are. I'm in awe of them. They are fair dinkum just. The difference in talent today was extraordinary. The difference in confidence, in the way they move the football with speed and accuracy. Inaccuracy in front of goal, they could have totally destroyed us. But was, we sat on someone, we quelled him. We come off him, we go on to someone else jumps up. Treloar jumps up and kicks 2 or 3 in the last quarter. We sit on Devon Smith, and I thought that Curnow did a terrific job. Then he has to move across on someone else. Allard doesn't play as a forward where we've got him, has to go in the middle. He sits on someone, does a good job, someone else jumps up. They're an awesome side, and unfortunately we haven't got the manpower to go with them. It's as simple as that. Now we got thrashed, totally.
I don't think anyone would question that GWS is a fantastic side and really coming, but I guess the query is, was your team's performance acceptable today, in your view?
Oh no, we know we're well short of what we require. Well short.
So you had them, behind doors there for quite a while. What was the gist of the message to them?
Common sense. And, how do you go? You can yell and do all bits and pieces that are totally inadequate and totally rehearsed, but why do it? So in a sensible fashion, let's look at what we have to do. What did we do and what do we have to do? So what did we do today and what do we have to do? And that's because we have it in closed doors. That's why it's behind closed doors, so we can discuss. The principal thing, and I can say this, is that there's got to be still a unity. The moment we fragment at a football team level, in other words, the players and the coaches, if there's a fragmentation in that, the whole lot goes down.
Is there unity in this team?
There's a unit. There's certainly a great respect for one another, but is there a unity in regard to the way we're playing? No. There's a lot of areas that we believe when you start to have a 1 and 5 or 1 and 6 as we are, I think it is, there can be a tendency to go, I've got to play well to keep a game, or I've got to do this to keep a game. Some of those things enter into it, but not near as bad as I've seen sides do. So I don't think that's a major problem at all. I think it's probably part of certain players who have been fringe players still fighting for a position that have continued that. And in my side, they're not fringe players. They are players who deserve a game, but they still, in their own mindset, haven't quite come to grips with that you can fall off a player to do something else for a teammate. And that's...
So playing for survival rather than...
Well, playing smart. I think it's playing smart more than anything else.
You've got
two Friday night games coming up. Are you concerned?
Coming up, have we got? Oh yeah, sorry, we have, yeah.
Concerned that, you know, with the team not being in the best of form, how you're going to go, you know, with selling the club on the big stage and.
Well, I don't do the draw, and when we play, we play. You know, it's. You know, I've got to be very frank about this. It's. I can't go to bed at night thinking how many people are going to turn up or watch it. I've got enough on my plate to worry about getting the side up and picking the right side and having a competitive team, which we weren't today. When they're on show, when that side's on show, like they were, they're very, very hard to stop. And I didn't bring my stats because I thought it was a waste of time. But I thought we were massively competitive early, and what it does show you is that their capacity, a young capacity, you know, the young legs, the sprinting power starts to overwhelm you, and it becomes an overwhelming power. So, getting back to your Friday night, I don't pick the draw. We just try to pick a side. My biggest worry is getting the best out of my players to represent their football club.
I think
Does it concern you at all, the fact there was, 15,000, 16,000 people here today? Is that an issue?
Well, clearly they're watching sides near the bottom, if not on the bottom.
Yeah.
But again, you know, we've got 40-odd thousand members. To me, true supporters are supporters through thick and thin. But again, I don't. Of course, it's a concern for the football club. But you know, surely my role is to get the side into a position of being competitive.
Mick, I think a couple of weeks ago you mentioned that privately you'd addressed that rebuild issue with the players in terms of how they'd respond to the language surrounding that. Are you concerned now perhaps the hype and the language around what happened a couple of weeks ago might be adversely affecting this group at a performance level?
Well, I really can't answer that. I mean, on evidence, when you look at it, you say, well, you know, what is wrong? But until you interview a player and get an honest answer, I can't answer that for them.
You asking him to play a more adventurous style coming out of defence? I mean, it seems to chip around quite a lot and go wide. I think you only had 32 inside 50s. Are you trying to get them to play with a bit more dash through the back line?
I just want them to play so we can win the games of football. We take on each side differently, and but you learn lessons, and their use was so much more superior. It always looks poor when your last or your fifth possession hits the deck, and it just works from one end to the other without too much of a resistance. You know, the art of it is to get there into a position of scoring. We haven't got the opportunity. We haven't been able to break through that barrier of having our fourth or fifth possession marked so we can have a shot on goal. It's not through lack of training or I was going to say coaching, but I don't want to. You know, it's about trying to get the maximum out of your player group that can use the football and get it into a scoring position. Put it that way, and then defend it on the way out.
Just on that, Mick, though, the times where they were kicking sideways and backwards and stuff, I mean, do you tell them, well, this is not what I want? Because the crowd was booing at once, you know, at certain stages there.
There is a. You know, I've probably said too much already, but there is a common thread with what I say. The last thing they move down the race is play the game. Play the game. There's a few players that are very robotic. We know that. And their growth is to play the game. To win the ball, stop, no one on them, 20 yards in front, we go backwards. It's playing the game.
How do you spend this week, this coming week, to prepare for...
Without sleep, I could say. So I'll have to tell you what I'm like on Tuesday without sleep.
Brilliant. Thanks, everyone.